This town has lost everything.
You know, it's just hard to believe.
It's a lot for a young person to see our communities wrecked.
I lost everything, that old stuff that I had forever.
It's just really hectic right now. Everybody's trying to do something, but nobody really knows what to do.
Because even if a rebuild ever happens, I don't even know if it will never be the same.
Category 4 Hurricane Helene slammed into Florida's Big Bend region on Thursday night, September 26th. This was the third hurricane to hit the region in 13 months. Helene's eye came on shore near Perry, Florida. The strongest storm to ever hit the region brought 140-mile-per-hour winds and record-setting storm surge that forever changed the lives of many communities. WUFT reporters visited these small towns in the hours after the storm. Communities were devastated from Cedar Key to Keaton Beach. WUFT reporter Alex Land introduces us to a lifelong Horseshoe Beach resident who lost everything in the storm.
Shrimper Timmy Futch has spent his days in Horseshoe Beach, surrounded by the sea.
64 years, lived here my whole life.
Now this lifelong resident is spending his days surrounded by a sea of debris. Timmy has weathered storm after storm that has come through his coastal community, but Category 4 Hurricane Helene
Never seen one this bad.
left a level of destruction
Never had water in my yard.
he couldn't fathom.
It was a bad storm, a real bad storm.
The scenery of Horseshoe Beach has been reduced to fallen road signs, exposed insulation, and doors ripped off their hinges.
I was raised in this house over here across the road.
Just next door is the shell of Timmy's childhood home.
That house is 6 months older than I am.
Now, just a pile of vinyl siding and plywood. To make matters worse, Timmy is just getting back on his feet after Category 3 Hurricane Idalia tore through his beach community last year.
It's hard to hold back tears.
Tears tell a story about what has happened here in the past year. 13 months of Timmy's recovery efforts just to be back at square one.
You know, you kind of figure, is it worth it? I've always said I was hard-headed, you know, and whatever it come, I could do it. This is bad.
Horseshoe Beach Mayor Jeff Williams says his residents are being faced with a crushing setback.
Over the past year, they began opening businesses back up. Our restaurant and our bar just opened 2-3 weeks ago. Our marina just opened 2 weeks ago. And now they're all gone again.
But Williams says what makes Horseshoe Horseshoe is the town's perseverance. His people haven't given up hope.
Our citizens love each other.
Not by a long shot.
Would you like something, sir?
You will see family and friends come in from all over to help their friends and family in Horseshoe. It's heartwarming.
Timmy has had help cleaning debris all day. He says he's overwhelmed by the support.
It's crazy. I thought I dare you, you know, you couldn't beat it for the response of the people coming volunteering their time and help.
Despite the devastating damage,
They just come in here and, you know, it's just heartwarming.
the community promises to help rebuild, to help Timmy rebuild.
We're just going to brush everything off there and try to build back as much as we can. You know, I mean, it'd take us a little while. It's just something you don't just recover from and go on, but we're going to come back.
Horseshoe Beach bears the scars of Hurricane Helene, but the storm cannot take away the determination and heart from Timmy and his coastal community. Alex Land, WUFT News.
Historic Cedar Key was washed away by the record storm surge. Tourism dollars drive this local economy. WUFT reporter Bailey Cornick introduces us to a hotel owner who lost her livelihood in the storm.
Once soothing seas turned into a record storm surge. 10 feet of water swallowing a quaint inn.
It's just disbelief.
A vacation getaway reduced to rubble. Shards of glass, splintered beams, and memories made to look like garbage.
Because even if a rebuild ever happens, I don't even know if it will never be the same. The Faraway Inn is gone.
In the wake of Hurricane Helene, Faraway Inn owner Amy Firestein assesses the damage for a third time in 13 months.
It's sad because we lost Cottage 1 in Idalia. We have the stairs left, that's it. We rebuilt Cottage 2, we lost the whole sidewall. We rebuilt it, we just opened up Cottage 2 for Labor Day.
But this time, totally destroyed.
It's not even a rebuild, it's an all brand new construction.
Relying on the inn as the family's primary source of income, building it back looks bleak.
And the amount of money it will take to do that is just unthinkable right now.
Now, she says she needs to find a different job to keep her head above water.
We're losing our income, we're out, we gotta get a job.
A sentiment shared throughout the small beach town that largely relies on tourism dollars.
We will be missing businesses, we will be missing people, because there are businesses that won't come back by choice, won't come back because they just can't.
Cedar Key Chamber of Commerce President Doug Lintout is no stranger to the devastation hurricanes have on the local economy. But he says Helene was different.
People that we know have no idea where their home is. It's gone. It's in the Gulf. It is, I don't know, it's in Bronson.
He stands in his own home destroyed by Helene, thinking about others and how they'll recover.
The island will get back on its feet. It will look different. It'll be a different island.
A different island, a long road ahead, but a spirit of hope lingers as the community finds its footing.
I'm an optimist, and there will be a recovery.
Surrounded by destruction, but still finding those positive moments.
That's Asina. She's been through hell.
Far away in mascot Etsina the cat. Thought to be missing, but found safe back at her home.
And I was super excited, and I was just like, do you see her? And he's like, yeah, so, sorry. So we were super excited, and I called him, and we found her, we have her, and I started texting everybody.
Those positive moments that will help Firestein and her island neighbors turn the page on this tragedy. In Cedar Key, Bailey Cornick, WUFT News.
As Big Bend region residents are left to build their lives back, hundreds of Good Samaritans rushed to the damage zone to help immediately following the storm. WUFT reporter Bianca Smith met one family who volunteered to feed an entire small town.
It's a backdrop of destruction, a near total loss. One of the only things left untouched after Hurricane Helene, this tire swing. In this tight-knit community of just 300, not a single home is left unscathed. Everyone is letting the loss sink in.
It's not a good feeling. I felt this was my stuff back in Mississippi with Katrina, but here, these folks have worked so hard over the past year from Idalia to get to this point, and then they just got wiped out again.
But so much bad has been met with good. Neighbors, volunteers are coming from near and far to help. Bill Matkins is all too familiar with this scene.
There is hope, and I've seen it. It took 15 years for my town to grow back, and it's 15 years right now. And so it's just going to take a little time and patience and putting up with this mess.
The Mississippi man experienced Hurricane Katrina firsthand. Despite the exhaustion and relentless fatigue, Matkins pushes through, driven by a pain he knows all too well. Now in Horseshoe Beach, every time he turns a corner, there's something else waiting to be fixed. He says the cleanup efforts will go on for at least 6 months.
People from outside of the county are feeling the effects from the storm. They're digging into their own pockets to help buy food for the residents here. But without any running water or power, there's no way to store the food, making this a temporary solution.
You can't even put it into words.
Janet Osteen is a lifelong resident of Dixie County. Her husband grew up here in Horseshoe Beach. Without skipping a beat, Osteen loaded up her kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids to head straight for Horseshoe Beach to lend a hand.
They've worked their whole life to be able to retire and come to this, and it's just all wiped away. And the people who does live here, like, this is everything they ever worked for. Like, it's just like overnight.
Osteen and her family brought enough food to feed 350 people. Pushed by her faith in God, Osteen felt called to help.
Get on your knees. Pray to God. You know, God said he'll never put you through something that you can't handle. However, it does seem like there's no light at the end of this tunnel. There is a light at the end of the tunnel every time.
Osteen's grandchildren, Raylan and Remy, are only in elementary school. Seeing the destruction in person was not what these young girls expected.
The hurricane kind of reminded us that a lot of people can lose their house, so we decided to help.
The girls know people have lost things near and dear, but they're glad they can lend a hand, even if just a tiny one.
Thank you. Y'all did a good
Good job. It feels happy because other people might feel sad because they don't have their houses anymore because the waves flooded their houses, maybe.
A warm meal, a cold drink, and a prayer as this small town begins to rebuild. In Dixie County, Bianca Smith, WUFT News.
As days turn to weeks, many first responders and Good Samaritans must return to their own lives. I met one man in Jenna hours after the storm and checked in on his recovery process 3 weeks later.
Clouds hover above a landscape of downed trees and broken homes.
Oh, it's a total loss. We've lost everything.
Robert McMillan is 38. He's been in Jenna
All my life, born and raised here.
His neighbors also not sure what to do next.
I lost everything, that old stuff that I had forever. This place has never flooded.
It's the same story for every family in the small community of Jenna.
It's just really hectic right now. Everybody's trying to do something, but nobody really knows what to do.
No power, no fuel.
I know something. You got no gas in.
Hurricane Helene also ruined the McMillan family home.
The floodwaters were so bad, you couldn't get anywhere without a boat.
His 2 kids playing in the same water that claimed his house and truck. Luckily, he got a little help from an old friend.
He probably changed my diapers when I was a baby, for all I know.
Richard Dickey has known McMillan all his life. He answered the call for help in their hometown.
Everybody around here is like family. That's what makes this place, so special, is whenever things like this happen, we all band together, and everybody knows it, so.
McMillan had help in the immediate days after the storm. But 3 weeks later, most of that support is gone. Long after the floodwaters have dried up, it's the same scene.
Only thing we're missing is a little rain and some winds, and we'd still be at the hurricane.
Living alone.
I've had this camper, I don't know how long.
Out of his broken RV.
But we got nothing.
Walking up familiar steps to a still ruined home.
I still can't believe this happened. It's 35 years.
He started cleaning a bit.
It's been very slow, to say the least.
But working alone isn't easy. Which is why McMillan's grandfather, 88-year-old Robert Nelson, is cutting rotten wood, even though his hand is bleeding.
I made it a point to do something every day that I live.
He's been here since day one.
It's been wishy-washy.
Both of these men are working hard to restore what was lost.
We start from the bottom up.
Which could take months.
By December, there won't be no Christmas.
As Helene's legacy lingers,
it's still that day for me, every day.
Long after this hurricane season is over. In Jenna, Juan Carlos Chowie, WUFT News.
Months later, the Big Bend is still recovering from Hurricane Helene. There are some signs of progress as communities try to get back to normal, though. WUFT reporter Ben McLeish shows us how Friday night lights are back on in Taylor County.
As the Friday evening sun sets on Perry, Florida, the excitement has just begun. The buzzing of an anxious crowd.
We got the best fans in America, man.
The smell of hamburgers wafting in the air. The taste of autumn air as temperatures drop. The Taylor County High School Bulldogs take the field.
That's a good football team.
Friday night lights illuminate Dorset Stadium.
It's something I look forward to, when I get up in the mornings and stuff.
The Bulldogs look to bounce back from 2 straight losses and a Category 4 hurricane.
It was a pretty big devastation.
Hurricane Helene's whipping winds.
Man, they were shook up.
Forever changed the lives of thousands of Taylor County residents.
It's a lot for a young person to see our communities wrecked.
Senior kicker Talon Abajaris not only saw the destruction, he lived through it.
We ended up losing our house, most of our stuff.
A 10-foot storm surge washed away his family's home.
We'll never have normal again,
It was a tough loss for us.
But Abajaris and his teammates refused to quit.
Abajaris on to attempt the extra point.
We're tough individuals,
The Bulldogs became a symbol for a small town that refused to give up. Now, as they rebuild their community,
we're doing, better than ever, I'd like to think.
These young men are ready for the next step toward recovery.
It was something I could get my mind off of and just, kind of resume back to my normal life for a little bit.
Returning to their home field for the first time in 2 months.
Sports, they bring people together,
And their perseverance paid off.
Even when the cards are stacked against you, it doesn't mean you can't win.
The Bulldogs took down the McClay Marauders in a nail-biter, 35-28. Behind a passionate display on the field and in the stands.
I'm just in awe of how a community can rally around the youth and see the potential in their tomorrow.
And for the first time in 4 years, they're in the playoffs.
We got resilient kids.
For some, football is just a game.
Touchdown.
For others, it's a way back to life after unimaginable destruction.
There is no normal.
And maybe the new normal for Taylor County is a darn good football team. Ben McLeish, WUFT Sports.
Tens of thousands of people in Florida's Big Bend region had their lives changed in a matter of hours. The rebuilding process is ongoing. There are so many challenges these communities face, but there is a similar theme in every interview we conducted. No matter how bad the damage, there is an element of hope. Hope that one day the Big Bend, from Yankeetown to Perry to Suwannee to Steinhatchee, will build back better than ever, sooner rather than later.
We were here before the storm, and the storm comes through, and we're here to help after the storm, to help these people get back up on their feet.
I'm just in awe of how a community can rally around the youth and see the potential in their tomorrow.
Everybody around here is like family. That's what makes this place, so special, is whenever things like this happen, we all band together, and everybody knows it, so.
God said he'll never put you through something that you can't handle. There is a light in the tunnel every time.
I'm an optimist, and there will be a recovery.